She has no contact with her family since she was a teen. She had a best friend named Eva who was like a sister to her. Eva let my wife stay at her house often and was always there for her. I met my wife in college. Sadly, Eva passed away suddenly when we were dating. I only met her a few times, but she was very nice. My wife was heartbroken. We got married 2 years ago, and she took my last name, Brown. We are expecting a baby girl in a few months, and my wife wants to name her after Eva. She has always wanted to do that. I agreed to honor Eva in some way, and we talked about different baby names that were meaningful to them. We liked a name that was related to a place where they had good memories. But yesterday, my wife told me that she had a dream where Eva asked her to remember her by her name. She used to have dreams like that when Eva died, but not lately. She said that to honor Eva, our baby has to be named Eva. I said no way. I told her why. Eva Braun, pronounced Brown, was the wife of one of the most evil people in history. I said we can still tell our kids about Aunt Eva and keep her memory alive, but my wife said no. She said nobody will think of the historical person, and our baby won't be teased at school. She said she didn't like the place name anymore, and one of our relatives just had a baby with a similar name, like Brooke to Brooklyn. I offered other ways to honor Eva, like her birthstone or a middle name, or even names that had Eve/Eva in them. Anything but Eva itself. She burst into tears and said that she wouldn't accept any other name, and that it was the best way to keep Eva alive. I said it was a terrible situation, and if we had a different last name we would, but I just can't. Not only do I have a strong moral objection, I work in a field where if people found out that I named my child Eva Braun, my job could be in danger. She said I was making excuses and not supporting her as she was doing all the hard work to have this baby. This led to an argument, and now I'm sleeping on the couch for the second night. Some of our friends are saying I'm overreacting, but my sister, the mother of Brooke, is telling me that if she doesn't change her mind, I should register the baby without her. To be honest, I'm thinking about doing that if she won't compromise. I don't know what to do. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to name my baby Eva? Update. Hello everyone. I'm back and I'm sorry for the long silence. I didn't know I was still logged into this account. I was surprised by how much attention my AITA post got, and I appreciate all your feedback. They really made me think. Not long after posting, I contacted Eva's sister, Rose, who was very close to my wife, Lou, and told her what was going on. I know, I shouldn't involve others in our marriage issues, but Rose's opinion is very important to Lou, especially when it comes to Eva. Rose agreed with me that naming our daughter Eva Braun would be a bad idea, and she told me something that we thought could change everything. You see, Eva was a writer. She had journals, which her sister kept after she died. In one of these journals, she had a baby name list, where she wrote down 5 names for a girl and 5 names for a boy. Rose used these names when she had her kids. One of her sons has the top boy name, but she is done now and wants to give it to my wife. But we knew we had to do this carefully, so we came up with a plan. The next day, I talked to Lou and made it clear that our daughter would not be named Eva. Brown is the only last name we have, and Eva is not a good match for it. I reminded her that my wife had cut off her family and often joked that we married young at 22, so she could change her last name. She agreed that our child would have our married name, but still worried about forgetting Eva. I also told her that by naming our child Eva, she would be putting a lot of pressure on her to live up to dead Eva, and that's not fair to a young child. My cousin had the same name as a dead relative, and my grandparents always compared him to that relative, and I don't want that for my own child. That made sense to her, and she confessed that pregnancy was making her miss Eva more, as they had planned to be pregnant together. I recommended therapy, and she started therapy last week. I then shared with her what Rose and I had talked about, and she was very curious. We agreed that it would be nice to let Eva have a say in naming a child, since she loved writing names. We chose 2 of the 5 girl names that she had written. The girl had good taste. Being able to talk about baby names and think of our daughter as her own person has been wonderful, and I can see my wife is healing. This is the last update, and I'm excited to meet my daughter. Thank you all for your support.
I, 23F, won a free car. My boyfriend, 25M, and his family seem to think I'll give it to him for free. I'm a 23-year-old woman who won a brand new compact car in a raffle at a trade show for work. It's great, but I already have an older car that I love, and I just paid it off, so I can pay less for insurance. My car is still in good shape. It has about 100k miles, and I wouldn't pick the new car if I had a choice. I looked it up, and I can sell the car for about 14-15k after taxes and shipping. That money would be amazing for me after finishing college. It would increase my savings by more than 3 times. My boyfriend is 25 and he's been carless for a few months. He's having some financial trouble, so he hasn't bought a new one yet, but he can walk to the store. He gets a lift to work, and I drive him anywhere else. It's been fine and I don't mind. He pitches in for gas and driving. For some context, he lives with his friends. I live with my dad for free, so I can save up money. I really see a future with him, but we haven't talked about moving in together yet, but we are very serious. I went to his parents' house last night. His whole family has been nice and friendly to me, and everyone congratulated me on winning the car. But everyone, including my boyfriend, seemed to think the obvious and logical thing was to either give it to my boyfriend or give him my car and keep the new one. I don't want to do either of those things. It would be different if we were married or living together and our money was shared, but we're not. We're not at that stage in the relationship yet. I don't want to give him what would basically be $15,000 in cash. It doesn't make sense. If I'd won the money instead, there wouldn't be any talk of just giving it all to him. That car and the money from it should be mine. It's not my job to give him a free car, whether it be my $5,000 car that I really like or this brand new one. At the dinner at his family's house, I just kept quiet because I was so surprised by their assumption, and I didn't want to take it away from him in front of his whole family. How do I tell him and his family that this car and the money from it is not his in any way? TLDR, I found out I won a new car in a raffle at a work event. I want to sell the car to make about $14,000, but at my boyfriend's family gathering, everyone thought I'd give him the car because he doesn't have one. Update, He next day, I had to go to the city where I won the car to sign some papers and pay some fees. I asked my boyfriend if he wanted to come with me and we could have some fun in the city afterwards. He said yes, and I picked him up. We didn't talk about the night before at all. He asked me some questions about what I had to do today, and I told him that, and then I told him how the taxes on the car were going to be a few $1,000s. But luckily I could use my savings to pay them until I sold the car, and hopefully I would make about 14-15K based on my brother's estimates. He was silent for a minute and asked, "You don't want to keep it?" And I said no, that I was happy with the older, bigger car I have now. It fits our needs better, and I can pay cheaper insurance on it because it's paid off. He said that he didn't know the taxes would be that much. It was awkward in the car for a moment, and I finally just asked, "Did your family think I'd give you the car to use?" He said his mom told everyone right before I got there that we, meaning him and me, won the car and that he'd finally have something to drive. He said that he didn't think I'd do that, but he thought I'd want to keep the new car just because it was new, and that maybe I'd let him use my old car if he paid for the insurance. But then he quickly said that he didn't know the taxes would be more than a few $100s. I guess his reasoning makes sense given what he thought about the cost. He agreed that it was best to sell the new car. I asked if he was going to tell his mother that, and he said that he would, and that she sees us as a married couple already, because she really wants that for him and has been pushing him to propose to me. I didn't know that. Neither of us are ready for that yet. We're happy with where we are right now. He promised he'd talk to his mom and explain everything to his family and that he wouldn't let any of them think badly of me. I was worried about that. So he waited patiently while I dealt with the raffle company. It took more than 3 hours, and then we had a nice time walking around the city, and I paid for a very nice dinner. TLDR. Talked to BF the next day. He thought maybe I'd let him use my old car, but it was his mom who told everyone that we won the car and that he'd be driving it. He agreed the best choice was to sell it, and we had a nice time out in the city.